Alright, folks. Good evening. This is the Monday Night Rule of Law radio show, and this is your host, Eddie Craig. Alright, we are live tonight. It is, September 8th of 2014. This year is just disappearing as rapidly as the water in Texas. Alright. Now, before we get started on taking calls tonight, I've got some information on some things that I have received lots of emails and lots of calls about regarding getting rid of Social Security numbers and the statutes governing all that and everything else. Just for general information purposes, the information you need to know in relation to canceling the Social Security agreement as far as it being possible. It doesn't give a process for it, a procedure for it, or who to do it with, but it is possible. Under the Code of Federal Regulations, Section 404.1905, you will find the statute dealing with termination of agreements. And that is from the Social Security Act. So there is statute on the books that allows for the termination of any agreement at the federal level, and this is the code that makes for that. The process, like I say, there isn't one. When I did it, I simply sent in a notice to the Social Security Administration that I was hereby rescinding and withdrawing any and all future use, reference, or attachment to a designated number of such and such, and would waive all future benefits, privileges associated with same. And that's really all I did. So don't let them tell you you can't do it, because you can. Now, the one thing this statute does make very clear, and it's very short, so I'm going to read it to you. Each agreement shall contain provisions for its possible termination. If an agreement is terminated, entitlement to benefits and coverage acquired by an individual before termination shall be retained. The agreement shall provide for notification of termination to the other party and the effective date of termination. Now, just so you understand fully what that means. That means you're free to terminate the agreement, but any money we have stolen from you under false pretenses and promised to pay you back under even more false pretenses, we get to keep as a reward for our criminal activities. Who says crime does not pay in America? Pays very well if you're the government or a politician or a lawyer. And that, folks, is something we got to change, and we have to change it big time. Now, why is this important? Well, it's important for several reasons. First and foremost, when it comes to things like bank accounts, for instance. Now, every bank will tell you their policy prohibits them from opening any form of bank account without a Social Security number. However, banks, according to the federal courts, are quasi-federal agencies. They are entirely regulated by the federal codes. They are therefore under federal control. Therefore, their policies are not allowed to be in violation of federal law. The Privacy Act of 1974 says that no one, federal, state, or local, whether it be private or government, shall deprive any individual of a right, benefit, or privilege because of that individual's refusal to disclose a Social Security number. So the bank's policy is moot. It violates the Privacy Act. It also violates other federal law relating to information collection by banks. For instance, Code of Federal Regulations 103.28, where it deals with identification required by financial institutions. That section specifically tells the following to a bank. Before concluding any transaction with respect to which a report is required under Section 103.22, a financial institution shall verify and record the name and address of the individual presenting a transaction, as well as record the identity, account number, and the Social Security or taxpayer identification number, if any, of any person or entity on whose behalf such transaction is to be effected. Now, they're required to ask for a Social Security number under that statute, but they are not required to obtain one. How do we verify that? Well, we look at 103.34, which reads, In the event that a bank has been unable to secure the required identification, it shall nevertheless not be deemed to be in violation of this section if 1. It has made a reasonable effort to secure such identification, and 2. It maintains a list of the names, addresses, and account numbers of those persons from whom it has been unable to secure such identification, and makes the names, addresses, and account numbers of those persons available to the Secretary as directed by him. Now, that is Secretary of the Treasury, by the way, who, of course, controls who? The IRS. Now, in order to prove to you that it's a violation of federal law, not only do you have to look at what the Privacy Act says regarding the use of a Social Security number, you've got Title 18, Section 242 and 1983, both of which provide whoever, under color of any law, statute, ordinance, regulation, or custom, willfully subjects any person in any state, territory, or district to the deprivation of any rights, privileges, or immunities secured or protected by the Constitution or laws of the United States shall be fined under this title or imprisoned not more than 1 year or both. 42 U.S.C. Section 1983 further provides that a violator shall be liable to the party injured in an action at law, suit in equity, or other proper proceeding for redress. Now, that should be pretty clear even to a bank manager or a bank president that they cannot violate federal law without consequences. Then you look at 42 U.S.C. Section 408, which reads, whoever, and then look at Section 8, subsection 8, discloses, uses, or compels the disclosure of the Social Security number of any person in violation of the laws of the United States shall be guilty of a felony, and upon conviction thereof shall be fined under Title 18 or imprisoned for not more than 5 years or both. Now, folks, this is the same information that I used way back when I went after the Department of Public Safety here in Texas for refusing to reissue a license to me prior to my beginning of the fight on transportation. I was still active duty military at the time, and the state refused to renew my license because I wouldn't give them a Social Security number. Well, I fought with them and fought with them and fought with them, including the Attorney General's office at the time, and I presented them with all of these federal statutes. And they resisted, and they lied, and they cajoled, and they threatened, and they did all manner of things. But you go into any DPS office today, you ask them for a Social Security number exemption form, and they will give you a little slip of paper that they will tell you you have to go get notarized. And on that slip of paper, it says that I swear under penalty of perjury that I have rescinded my Social Security number and no longer use that number for any purpose. And you have to go get that signed in front of a notary and bring it back to the DPS. And then they'll issue a license without a Social Security number. I am responsible for the existence of that little form based upon the fight I had with them. That form was not in existence when I began that fight, and I have it on good authority that some guy threatening to go after the Department of Public Safety in federal court was the entire reason that form existed. Well, that was moi. And as you can see, if you stand your ground and you beat them black and blue with the rules that control what they do, you can make them cave, especially if there is some serious detriment to themselves for not doing so. And in the case of Title 18, the individual officer or employee or agent is liable, not his principal. So anything you go after them for under that, they themselves bear the brunt of, and there is no escaping it. So that being said, that's useful information to have if you intend to get rid of that number. Now, folks, I'm going to tell you, just like I've tried to tell other people, this is not to be done casually or taken lightly as to the consequences. Because you will find that everything in the good old you sucks of A revolves around the possession and use of that little number that we were all lied to and misled about its purpose and intent from the very beginning. Thank you, Johnson. Okay? So, folks, since the days of Andrew Jackson, we have had no honest presidents. We have had virtually no principled, ethical, honest representatives. We have very few in existence at all anymore. And we only had a few more than that back in the 50s. It's going to do nothing but get worse until we do something about it. And folks, this business has to begin changing at home. And I don't mean your household. I mean in your particular precinct or district. Let me tell you my idea, which I've talked about before. Everybody in Texas has a representative that represents one or more districts or precincts. And we need to be in that representative's face every time they're within our district or precinct. And when I get back on the other side, I'll be real short and sweet about telling you how we arrange that and make it happen. But in any case, this is Rule of Law Radio. The call-in number is 512-646-1984. We will be right back. All right, folks, we are back. This is Rule of Law Radio. And before we went to break, I was talking about how we get our representatives to listen to us en masse. Okay, when they come to visit your local district, make sure you have a town hall meeting scheduled. Try to get as many of the people from the surrounding communities that are part of that district or that precinct present. Get them in there. Make sure you have a focused point to this meeting to address with your representative. For instance, go after them on the property tax crapola that they're using to steal property. Okay? They are not allowed to tax our private property. They never have been. They simply use word disassociation with reality and substitute it for the legalese that makes it appear like they're doing something they're allowed to do. They aren't. Simple logic can prove that without having to go into any legalese whatsoever. I have no power to tax my neighbor. I have no power to tax any of my neighbors. I have no power by getting together with 3 of my neighbors to tax all of my other neighbors. And none of my other neighbors have the power to give any of my neighbors the power to tax me. Got it? If we don't possess the power, we cannot delegate it to our state officials. Really, that's simple. We cannot give away a power we don't possess. So the only thing they can tax are the things they created. Corporations and everything associated with legal entities. They created those. They can tax the daylights out of them. I could care less. Leave me and my property alone. Same thing applies with the right to travel on the roads versus transportation. Make them understand the difference. Transportation is commercial. Motor vehicles are commercial use property. The right to travel is a right under the right of liberty. The courts have already said it's the right to locomotion protected under the right of liberty. We have the right to go from place to place of our own volition, at our own whim, by our own means, anytime we want. And our state officials have no power and authority to prevent that or interfere with it through licensing, registration, and fining us for traveling on our highways. You and I are not subject to this crap they call statutory law because it's not law. It's an agency administrative interpretation of the underlying law, and the underlying law is regulatory, which means it doesn't apply to you and me in our private capacities. Never has, never will. You've just been suckered. So get over that and get busy doing something about it, because you are not just fighting for your right to do something. You are fighting for the rights that are being stolen from your children, your grandchildren, and their children to come. Slowly but surely, every single day, these rights are being eroded, destroyed, forever lost to an ever-hungry government machine that will never stop feeding on us unless we stop it first. It's up to you and I to put an end to this. We need to get concentrated, get organized, get busy. Stop letting other people tell you how to live your life, to use your property, and to own what you have. Stop letting them do that. That does not make you free. That makes you a slave, like it or not. So it's time to wake up, people. Grab somebody you know and shake them by the shoulders till their teeth rattle. But wake them up. Because numbers is the only way we're going to take back what is ours. So keep that in mind. All right, I got about 5.5 minutes for the break. I've got one caller up on the board, and I need some more. 512-646-1984. Give me a call. Right now, we're going to go.